What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Hipo Supercoach, and today we're going to be talking about captaincy options this week, vice captaincy options, and my trades, and as well as some questions. So I think from now on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the questions that you guys ask in the comments in a video. It just makes it a bit easier for me to talk about everything, and I don't repeat myself as much because obviously there's going to be duplicate questions and whatnot. So anyway, let's look at my trades for this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Will Day and I'm going to bring Clayton Oliver for McGovern and Wanganeen Malera. So I have, if you've been following my team, you know I have 400k. I did like a triple downgrade last week with the injured Steele and a couple of others. Can't even remember who they were now. But yeah, so Will Day, I think the logic with him is it makes sense. And you think about how many defender premiums are actually getting his sort of midfield minutes. And I don't really see anyone getting in the 60%. So I think, yeah, the role's clearly there. The price is really nice, 400k. I really think he can get to 550, and at that point he would be a keeper. But I can see a world where he does become a keeper, provided that he keeps the CBA percentage that he currently has, or he had over the weekend. So if we look at DFS Australia real quick, and we go to 2023, and we can actually see right here, Will Day, he started off with a 26, and it translated into a pretty poor score, rightfully so. And he scored 60 Supercoach, right? 60, you can see it there. And then once he went up to that 63% and 65%, it turned into a 98 and a 139. So an average of like 115-ish around there. So 120-ish, sorry. So yeah, I'm really happy with the Will Day pick. I don't think he can go that big every week. Obviously, he's going to play some hard midfields in the coming weeks. But I think the guy's a gun. He didn't really need goals to score well. He tackles really well, and I actually really rate him as a player, not even just as a Supercoach pick. So I'm happy to take a punt on Will Day. Worst case, he gets injured or he loses his CBA role, and I just find some cash, maybe go Jones and Day to Tom Stewart and Van Rooyen via DPP, something like that. So wait and see. But yeah, really happy with the Will Day pick, and this pick's given me headaches all week. And I thought, LDU, Josh Kelly, but like, you know what? Those two guys are big injury risks, really, and I've already had two promos go down with injuries. I'm not willing to take a punt on another, and it's the same sort of reason why I haven't got Tim English and I'm backing Rowan Marshall. So Clayton Oliver has to come in. Just such a good run. I mean, his next 6 weeks, roughly, he's probably going to go 130 plus in all of them. So West Coast this week, who we know are depleted. He might cop a Gimby tag. I could see that possibly happening, but it's Clayton Oliver, even if he does get tagged this week, he's going to be one or two top midfielders for the season. So, yeah, really confident in the pick. And look at his last few games against Essendon and Richmond. And then after Richmond, he's got North, Gold Coast, Hawthorn and Port, and Freo. So, just dream run for Clary. And I think if you don't get him in this week, it's going to be very hard to fit him in. And because he's in 40% of teams, it makes it hard to go against him, just because everyone's going to have that jump on you. So I think I bite the bullet. I had 400k last week. It's a really good trade, Wanganeen Malera for Clayton Oliver. So don't overcomplicate things with that. We'll get into a few of the questions now, and then we'll talk about vice captain. So Josh Gall, hey mate, you've said, who do you think I should trade out for LDU, Warps or Titch? Has to be Warple. 100% has to be Warple. No reason to get rid of Tom Mitchell. Archer 250 said, thoughts on getting Armadi in? This one's quite interesting. I don't know too much about his job security. I think if it suits your structure, I think there's no reason not to. I'd rather go him if you have the cash than someone like Van Rooyen, who's only played the one game. It does give me good comfort about his job security, just because Buddy's played and they kept the Armadi in the team. So that's a big green flag or green light. So yeah, I think Armadi's a good pick. Hopefully he can get through 5 or 6 weeks of cash gen, and then probably ship him off. But yeah, I think he'd be a good pick. LDU is one of those players that loves contests, stops times, kind of like Judd. He's always around the ball and can go all game. I'm a North fan, so a bit biased, and I would pick him if he continues his form playing Carlton. Yeah, so I think I'm happy to miss out on him this week, especially with the calf. The calf scares me a little bit. If he had no injury niggles at all, I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to grab him. The value's really good. The price tag's really nice. But I just think, that calf scares me a tiny little bit. And North, they've been a bit sneaky with how they're lining up. So I don't like yeah, I don't like the idea of all that. But yeah, I think LDU, if you're going to bring him in this week, it's a good risk to take. Would you take Darcy back into Cameron, basically wasting a trade, says Jake M? No, I would not. I wouldn't do that. I'd find a way to get English or Wits or... Yeah, they're pretty much your only options. It's pretty unlucky. You could go Grundy. If you really can't get up to an English or Wits, just go Grundy. And the reason for that is because until Gawn comes back, Grundy should go pretty well. I mean, I know he got bodied by Brisbane's ruck, and I think he is still a trap in the grand scheme of the season. But you can't really go wrong with someone who's playing against West Coast this week who'd have no freaking ruckman. So I think, yeah, for a few weeks, Grundy will be fine. He'll probably get to like 550. I don't think you're really picking him for cash down. It's more of just a temporary pick. And for me, I don't like bringing in primos for temporary reasons. But yeah, if you absolutely can't, just go get Grundy. Otherwise, get English, and then Wits is probably the last preference. Rank 270 now. Not going to burn any trades this week. Great vid. Thank you, Masic. Yeah, that's really good. 270. Wow, that's impressive. So, yeah, I wouldn't be burning any trades if you don't have to. Absolutely no reason. Double Dummy says McGoverney's down for a bit. Is an opportunity to go down to a cash cow. Buckley maybe question mark. And either bake the cash or use it to upgrade. The edge you have with Buckley is not many can go to him as his start price is restrictive. If he keeps it up, though, he will make you plenty to get someone decent in a few weeks. That's true. I don't think it's the worst thing to get Buckley. I just think, like... I mean, what are his scores looking like? It's either him or Will Day, and I kind of just want those points on the board. I love the Day role that he's had the last 2 games. And the upside to me is quite clearly better. I mean, he's gone back-to-back tons, which is pretty freaking awesome, I'm not going to lie. But that 70k price rise, like, I wish we had him last week. I really do wish I got him last week. His job security looks pretty good to me, but you know what? If you really want to take a punt and you need some cash, and you have McGovern and you need, yeah, Buckley might be the one. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting one, but yeah, I'll consider that. I will consider that this afternoon. I've got still a few hours before the initial lockout. But yeah, it's something to consider bringing in Jack Buckley, because obviously the risk with him, I mean, obviously he's going to make more money than Will Day. And that way, if you're bringing in a cash cow, you don't need them. You're not relying on them to be a keeper, which I really like. Look at LDU's average from round 10 or 11 onwards. He was a serious pick, and he's going to be a top 8 mid this year for sure. Yeah, nah, he undoubtedly looked unreal last year. We'll go through it again just to double check. But yeah, round 10 or 11, what was it? After that, he pretty much went, yeah, what? 109, 138, 88, 124, 149, 110, 104, 68. Wonder what happened in that 68 game. Maybe a Caldwell tag? I feel like it could have been a Caldwell tag. And actually, we might bring up fan footy real quick. And we'll go to the AFL archive. This is really good, guys. If you haven't checked this and you need to see if someone got tagged, I really recommend it. What round did we say it was? Round 20. Let's have a quick look. Round 20, where's North Melbourne? Essendon, there it is. Score table. Doesn't look like there's any tag signs here. So, Luke Davies-Uniacke, head-to-head with merit, 23 touches. You went at 91% efficiency. 2 frees against, 5 clangers. Pretty stiff to have that sort of score. I mean, Mason Redmond went 176, my goodness. But yeah, so interesting. He didn't get tagged there. I also want to see how he faces a tag. That's a big thing with LDU. Sorry, the webcam's a bit out of position. Yeah, so I need to see how LDU handles a tag, and that will ultimately determine whether he becomes a top 8 mid, I think, because he's going to have... he's going to cop some attention at some point. He's clearly their best midfielder, and definitely one of the best in the comp. Noah said, do you like the idea of Dawson to Stewart and Warple to Day, or should I go Warple down and Ridley or Callahan or Hunt up to someone? Fantasy, by the way. Okay. Well, I don't really play fantasy, but if it was talking about Supercoach, I wouldn't be trading Jordan Dawson. I don't know what he's scoring in fantasy. And going to Stewart's very sideways. I think, yeah, get rid of Warple as soon as possible because you just can't trust his role. That's another thing that sort of scares me about Day is the role. But as far as like just pure ability and skill and talent goes, I think Day's a great pick. And then Finn Callahan's probably one that has to go as well. So try and prioritize getting Callahan out. I know it doesn't specifically answer your question, but I can't really answer that because I don't play fantasy. But yeah, I'd prioritize getting Callahan out first and then Warple. Yeah, Ridley, I don't know. Don't know how he's scoring in fantasy. Is Warple to Ash a waste of a trade? Sam Mitchell to Grub reckons he's a forward. Yes, I know. It's pretty bizarre when you think about it. You know, like you've got someone who's clearly not a good kick playing in the forward line to kick goals, right? Kick goals. Yeah, it makes not a lot of sense, but they won this week, so whatever he did worked, I guess. Got to make room for Will Day. It's actually interesting with their CBAs is this Connor Nash guy. I mean, who the fuck is he? 26 and then 46 and 74% CBAs. I don't know if he was doing like a run with roll or something. I don't think he was, now that I think about it. Hawthorne. Who would they have tagged? LD wasn't playing. Connor Nash. Doing jobs in the midfield. Well, that's not very specific. I don't think he would have been tagged, to be honest. It says no one here has been tagged. Hopefully Finn McGuinness gets dropped as well for Tom Stewart owners. You think there's a chance JHF is still a keeper? Have to use a boost to get him to setters, and I'll drop 40k. If I don't, go setters. But I still have hope with JHF. He looked like going big in the showdown, but dropped off. I think so. Saints TV, how you going? I think Holden, Horn Francis. You know, there's. Oh, sorry. By the way, Warple to Ash. I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't trust Lockie Ash yet. That would be a waste of a trade. Unless you're absolutely adamant. I'd rather go down to like a Roaston if you're going to get rid of Warple, and that would free up some good coin. Yeah, so back to the other question. Yeah, keep Horn Francis, I think. If you've got him now, you just hold him. The upside's clearly there. He seems to sort of pull his head in and start chasing tackles. I mean, his discipline and his mentality, I guess, is just really bad. So, I mean, you knew what you were getting when you pick him, but whatever. I think you have to hold him at this point. English or Wits, this is a good one. English for me just, but Wits, you know, Wits is probably slightly more durable. That being said, Wits isn't exactly durable. He had a durable season last year and that was it. But yeah, I think English, the upside's clearly there. If I had to pick one of them, I'd definitely have English. Why do you think Baker is a trap? He's scoring well. Just because he's done this a few times before. I feel like every year he sort of pumps out a big score or a couple of big scores and then just fades. Whereas when you're picking keepers, you want to have players that you know can sustain a big average for at least the majority of the season, if not all of it. So, yeah, I think Baker, you just have to avoid and try not to get too trapped by him. It's the same reason with Luke Ryan. You know, Luke Ryan's one where you would think, why would you not bring him in? He's averaging 135. He's D1 by a mile. Why not get, or not by a mile, he's got Nick Dacos. But why not get him? And it's the same reason, you know, they just, ultimately they drop off. Connor Hanley says, already down to 29 trades after Callahan to Jacob Van Ruyen. Can afford Darcy to English, but is it worth the extra trade with the possibility of injury? No, I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. I think if you really want to get rid of Darcy, go Grundy. I wouldn't be getting rid of Darcy though. Just back him in. Back him in. You picked him for a reason. Everyone's jumping off. I don't really see the reason why you jump off Darcy. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Anyway, let's jump into some of the vice captain options. So one thing that I don't know if many people are talking about is everyone seems to be happy with the Bont VC. I don't know about this though, because it's going to be raining in Melbourne over the next 3 days, right? So Bont VC in wet conditions, I don't know historically how he goes in the wet, but you know, naturally you wouldn't obviously be as effective in the wet weather. So I kind of want to stay away from Bont and Pally. The other problem is with Brisbane tonight, the weather's fine up there, but they, like Lachie Neale and Dunkley, I don't know if they can go big against Collingwood. Collingwood haven't conceded like a ton to any midfielders this year, basically. So their midfield's quite good defensively. I don't know if that's a good option. And then it sort of leaves me with Nick Dacos and the question of, are Brisbane going to put time into him? I don't see any reason for them to do so. I mean, if we look at the teams real quick, I don't think they have like a tagging sort of player on their forward line, do they? I mean, look at their forward line. They got Zorko. I mean, they could maybe send McCluggage, but I don't think he would. Jared Berry, I don't think could keep up with him. Jackson Pryor, maybe? I don't know. I don't think they're going to tag. So, Nick Dacos could be the shout. Still seems a bit risky, but yeah, that's probably what I'm leaning towards at this point, Nick Dacos VC tonight. If you have Tim English, I think he's a great option just because he's going to get so many hitouts. And yeah, we know how good he is around the ground. He might not clunk as many of those marks in the wet as he would in the dry, but you know what, he's still going to go pretty big. And more rain means more ruck contests, which means more hitouts for potential, I guess. And yeah, I think the optimal one is Clayton Oliver, just because he's playing West Coast. He could get a tag, but you can't just, unless they say something, you can't really expect West Coast to just start tagging out of nowhere. But I really have a gut feeling that Gimby could go to him, but I think it'll get to a point where Melbourne will be up by too much for them to even care about that. So I don't think it's worth tagging Clayton Oliver. Well, it is, but it's not worth it when I've got him in my team. And yeah, that's pretty much it going into the round. Obviously, things could change subject to teams. One rumor we're hearing is Will Setterfield could be out, so that's quite annoying. I don't think it's the end of the world personally. I'm just going to hold him and just hold Will Setterfield at this point, because more often than not, teams are going to have Oscar Baker coming on, and I actually don't mind having Oscar Baker. If he scores a 50, whatever. But he looked really good last week. He had 18 touches. I think 17 of them were kicks. I think he kicked a goal or two. Just looked really, really good and didn't need CBAs to score well. So something I don't actually mind doing, to be honest. So Michael Voss claims Sam Walsh should be ready to return next week. That's interesting. Okay. Maybe a little bit of a pod. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the news, guys, and the video. I hope everyone has a good weekend. Hopefully some of the normality in Supercoach can come back, because I feel like still a lot of weird players are doing well, and a lot of good players are doing average. So I think it's eventually going to sort of even itself out as the season goes on, and we just got to make sure we don't fall for the traps. I mean, Will Day, he could be a trap. Who knows? But at this point, I'm willing to take the punt on him. It could be a Jack Buckley. I really like the point the guy in the comments made. His name's Double Dummy. I really like the point he made, and just back-to-back 99s. It's hard to resist someone like that. Obviously, that first price rise is already gone, which hurts a bit. But definitely some potential for money to be made there. So thank you guys for watching the video. Good luck for the weekend. Any questions you have, leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to get to them in the next video. So thanks.